Right, I was just sitting here reading through a few old books and things, Idéer bakom politiken. It's not in English, as you could guess, it's in Swedish. And another one, Politiska ideologier i vår tid. Again, Swedish, but it translates, that particular book just got me thinking again, It's translates as political ideologies in our time. Now, he was written by a young trade unionist in the early 80s in Sweden. But it's actually still valid today, because it, as I say, just reading through it got me thinking, ideologies. And I was just thought, what ideology would you say that Ireland has today? How would we describe it? What's the ideology of our government? Tis you have a list of different types of ideologies here. Naturally enough, we have all kinds, social democracy, communism, liberalism, everything you can make a man imagine. You have feminism, an ideology, matriarch, all these are all ideologies. Democracy is also an ideology. So I was just thinking, everybody tells me that Ireland is a democracy. But reading through these books again, and they give descriptions of what ideologies look like. And I thought, like, here we are in Ireland with our government, and what it does, in effect, is it actually has total control of everything we do. It's a democracy where we have a say in everything, according to yet we have no say in. We have no say. We have, like, in reality, we don't really have a say. Government tells us we do. They keep telling us, you live in a democracy. But I can't see this democracy around me. Especially when you think of what is going on in the country. We've a government that makes decisions that directly affects people, and it affects people badly. People are pauperised. They're afraid of their bloody life. Afraid of the bloody life of authority. They're afraid to open their mouth and complain against anything. We have nothing working in this country. The whole fucking country is in a shambles. Health, the health system is ruined. Our economies are fucking ruined. They tell us we've a robust economy. We've politicians sitting there on TV telling us, we have a robust economy. They might have a robust economy, but the fucking people of the country are barely making ends meet. So where's all the fucking money? Where's this robustness in our economy when people can't afford things? Forget it. People can't buy houses anymore. They can't fucking rent them either. I mean, it's very few that less and less people can afford to buy a car. People living in rural areas need transport. There is no fucking transport. There's no public transport unless you're living in a city. Yet if you are living outside a city, there's no public transport for you. You need a car, but you can't afford a car. You can't get a car. Yet, people that just moved into the fucking country a couple of fucking weeks ago, that are from outside fucking Europe altogether, have no fucking business at all in this country. They're supplied with public transport and cars. If public transport isn't there, we just learned they're supplied with fucking cars to take them where they need to go. Christ, I'd like to have that. I'm Irish, I'm born here 9 fucking years ago, but I don't get the fucking, what you call it? There's no public transport actually goes past my house here, yeah? But I don't get a fucking car supplied to go to town or to go to the nearest fucking bus stop, which is fucking 3 miles away, yeah? So, this democracy we're talking about, I sat and started thinking about it, Here we have a government that just dictates everything. And the country is in a shambles because of their policies. And not only that, it's getting worse by the fucking minute. Every minute that they're there. The place is fucking falling apart. We have nothing. You know, we have the social welfare systems. Nothing. We have unrest in society. You know what I mean? We have people, there's no protection for people anymore. People have to start protecting themselves now at this stage. And as I say, I go back to it again. People are actually harassed. They're harassed by authorities and by their government. Yet, the systems that are supposedly in place to protect the people are the fucking problem. They're the ones that are causing the harassment. When you go to deal with fucking public servants, or those that are supposed to be protecting our constitution, yeah, these people are fucking, they're horrendous. Yeah? They're out to make life unbearable for you. You know, we have all of this. We have such a fucking mess the system is in. And then this government accuses us, people like me and you, that raise our voices to complain about what is going on in the country. And they tell us we're far-right extremists. Great, that got me going again. I thought, okay, the political ideologies of our time. So I'm a far-right extremist, which means that I am a nationalist, actually. You know, I'm a far-right, because right of the register is nationalism. I'm a nationalist. So I'm a far-right nationalist, according to the government. Now, what does a far-right nationalist act like? What do they do? I looked it up. You know, what would they look like? What would they do? So Nazism and far-right Nazism, like totalitarianism is what it is. We're going to take care of the rise of totalitarianism. That's what the government is telling us, that they're fighting against the rise of totalitarianism in, you know, being the extreme far-right. And I looked up and see what it is, and here, one of the hallmarks or the signs of totalitarianism. Media is controlled. That's one of the main signs. The legal system is co-opted by the state. Another sign that you're living in a totalitarian regime. This one. The government exerts its power to quash dissent. The state police force, this is number 4 now, the state police force protects the regime against the people. Not the people, again, not protect the people against the state, the rogue state. They protect, that is, your police force protects the politicians and the state against you, the people. That's a sign of totalitarianism. Your rights and liberties, your civil and legal rights are dependent on your compliance. More compliant are, more rights you will have. If you're not compliant at all, your rights will be taken away. We can see that when you're not compliant, like for example Enoch Burke, not very compliant, and his rights have been trampled on. Yeah, just jailed, shut him up, keep him out of the way. It's uncomfortable truths that this government does not want to listen to, and it stifles it. Another sign of a totalitarian regime. Okay. Next sign of a totalitarian regime is that power is concentrated in an inner ring of elite institutions and people. That is a group of politicians that hold all the power. That's another sign. Okay, other signs. Semi-organised violence is permitted. That would be, you know, small acts of violence, you could say, by your police state is kind of okayed by the government. Just an example of them, right? Just an example would be your police using batons, mace and water cannons, for example, at peaceful protests. And then, of course, one big sign again is that propaganda. The propaganda targets the enemy of the states, the enemies of the state regime. Yeah? And the enemies of the state regime are the so-called right-wing extremists. So, and more signs, there's more signs of this, like that you know, that you can see around you happening, that our government is actually a totalitarian system, because entire groups or classes of people are being kind of singled out, yeah, and treated, you know, treated in a certain way. They're kind of persecuted in a sense, you know what I mean? Political activists, for example, and again the far right, anybody that the government perceives as being far right, political activists against the narrative and so forth, they can be singled out, yeah, by government. For example, kept in registers. They're registered and kept tabs on. They're watching what the activists are doing. They infiltrate and read their accounts in Telegram, for example, you know. They watch their fucking Facebook pages, you know. Who knows, maybe they even listen to their telephones. We don't know. But all these are signs, right? And then the power that a government like that has, and that it uses, you know, and it uses through its public service, to its public servants, because they give the public service a lot of power, and to use that power to force people to adhere to the government narrative. Everything the government does is geared to stopping people having different views than the government has, you know, and especially voicing them. I mean, they're bringing in laws that stop you speaking your mind, that decide which words you can use when you speak in public or in private. Yeah? They want laws brought in where the police can go into your home if they suspect you of being an activist or a far-right extremist, or being against this government, or having material that they deem is not good to have. All signs of a fucking totalitarian regime. That's what it is. Our government's a totalitarian regime. How much more fucking proof do people need to see this? That this government has to go. The ones that they're accusing of being far-right extremists are not far-right extremists. They are ordinary people that are trying to save their country. They're opening their mouths, they're standing up to be counted, and they're being harassed. Some of them are even being jailed, yeah, with trumped up ridiculous charges, usually fucking things on disturbance of the peace or whatever they can get you at. All this happens if you stand up and voice your opinion. So what kind of democracy are we living in? Again, we're not living in a democracy, yeah? And we have to do something about it. And if you're still, yeah, of the fucking perception that we're living in a country and our government, we're living in peaceful times and our government love us and want the best for us, if you're still under that fucking delusion, then you are part of the problem. About time now you wake up and see what the hell is happening, not only in this country but the whole of bloody Europe along with it. Okay? We need to take our countries back. And I say countries as in plural, not only in Ireland, every country in Europe. Europe is the cause of all the unrest, all the so-called racism and everything else that's going on there, that they say is we are doing. We, the people, are being the racists. No, we're fucking not. The Irish were never fucking racist, yeah? But what the hell do you expect to happen when you bring in hundreds of thousands of people from countries outside, far outside Europe that have nothing to do with us, unvetted by the way as well, none of them working, costing us a fortune, so to the degree that the indigenous people, the Irish themselves, have fucking nothing. can't get houses, can't get housing. A lot of people are fucking just barely managing get enough food, heating over the winter. They can't do it. Yet they see this going on around them. They see people being housed, yeah, that don't even speak our language and have no interest in speaking our language or ever learning it. They're here for the money and they're getting it. And we are treated like second-hand citizens in our own country. That is a fact. That is a fact. That is what this government is doing to people. Yeah? And then they get the reaction that they're getting. People are turning on them. People are sick of it and tired of it. Yeah? And they turn on them. They turn on this government. And what do? They use their power. They use their power again to stop you, to fucking quieten you down. Yeah? They bring in newer laws. We damn know, like we saw how much of this they can do and what power they can do with this so-called fucking COVID. When they shut the whole bloody country down and made people stay 2 or 5 kilometres from their bloody doors, and they got away with this. They got away with this. I make out that was a test. They know that they have that much power. They can do that. Imagine, they can do that again. Any fucking time they feel like it. Shut you all down. Pass a law. They just get another fucking egghead fucking up there in fucking Dáil that's willing to do it. Passes out a law that even might not even agree with our constitution. Might be repugnant to the constitution. They still pass these laws and force them on people. Yeah, a lot of the laws that they brought in during COVID-19 were repugnant to the Constitution of Ireland, yet they still did it. In other words, they broke the bloody law, your government, and forced you to stay at home. Shit like this going on, and we accepted it. Right? You can see if you're awake, yeah. You can see what is going on in this country. There is no more fucking excuses now for you to say no, that you don't see what's going on. Yes, the government is right, yeah? The rise of the far-right extremism, the rise of totalitarianism, but it's they themselves that are the totalitarian regime. And we need to fight that. We need to fight that. We need to fight this government. We need to get it out. We need to go back to our constitution and take it out. We the people gave ourselves our laws and our constitution, and we need to stand in that power again. We need to do it over again. One of the earliest lines in our constitution, it states clearly that we the people decide our own form of government. So it's time that we made the decision that we are going to have a different form of government than the dirty, treasonous bastards that are up in fucking Dáil. Okay?